Hello, as promised, I'm going to get my Final Fantasy feels on. But not just on a Friday, every day of the damn week. And I stipulated for a while, what would be a good first one to kick back off into, just to get the nostalgic, the tingly winglies. What's going to give us the tingly winglies more? The Tifa and Aerith friendship moments. There was a 51-minute video of their Girlmance in the Rebirth. Yeah, this is the one. A lot of people I know are kind of shipping these two, like legitimately, unironically. It's pretty phenomenal and potent just how much these two are getting along, like to the point where Cloud is often the butt of the joke between them two. I mean, they give me all kinds of ooey wooey wholesome feels, these two. And yeah, I would say, while some of it might feel like it's fan service, I would say it's anything but. And the reason why I say this, guys, already diving into the deep end, I think there is a legitimate high-end theory plot reason why Tifa and Aerith are bonding this hard. Of course, you know, the fact that everyone's lives have already been lived in OG, there's the echoes of the friendship they once had, and you know, we saw how much of even a spirit companion Aerith became for Tifa. Yeah, like Advent Children, she sees a water droplet, she's like, I knew you were there, I knew. But I would say it's even deeper than that. Because what we know is Sephiroth in OG, his biggest mistake was making Aerith the primary threat. Whereas, you know, Tifa kind of snuck up, took him unawares, healed Cloud's fractured mind, and basically was the undoing of him. And it's very clear Sephiroth's not making the same mistake. He's planted Marco. Now, Marco's been there a long time under Tifa's care, watching, analysing, assessing, seeing what is this gift, this power that, quite frankly, and for all good reason, is foreign to Sephiroth, right? Traits like nurturing, beauty, care, empathy, compassion, all the things that Tifa is just busting at the busty seams with, he doesn't get that. So he's been assessing, he's been watching, and look how much of a focus he's made Tifa. You know, even in turning Cloud's mind against her, making him think she's not real. He's already tried to kill her, what, twice? Thrice? So it's very clear it's turned towards Tifa. And what does that mean? The counter response has to be twofold. From Aerith and from the planet. And we saw the planet, old emerald weapon, or the baby one, came and scooped her up, showed her stuff, and I'm pretty convinced at this point, along with the little mind glitches, you know, she had a glitch. She had one of Cloud's glitches, which I did a theory video on that. Does she have Genova cells? And I went into a whole speculation as to how that'd be possible, and you guys even went over my head, said, oh yeah, this retconned element, I mean, it's not really retconned, an extended element of her going and being with this doctor, a doctor who happens to be looking after a lot of the clones. He could have used S cells to try to regenerate Tifa from her near-death slashy scar experience. So Tifa could have S cells in her. But regardless of that, what I think is clear is that I believe, and I don't know if it's clear, it might not be clear to you guys, I think in part 3, Tifa is more or less going to feel like the MC. It just makes so much sense. For what happens in OG, you know, when Cloud gets his butt-holy Mako poisoned again, his booty bum cheeks just get poisoned and he's kind of out of action. And while in OG they kind of put Sid Highwind in as the temporary team leader, for all intents and purposes, plot-wise, Tifa is carrying the show at that point. And that's just in OG. Now we compound on the element that Cloud is starting to act, behave, even embody the movesets of Sephiroth. He's becoming Sephirothy. And I think we can all guess that that's going to continue, right? He's going to become Sephiroth cloney. And so those two elements right there from OG and what has now been extended put Tifa in the limelight of being our essentially MC of part 3. And I think that's why Aerith has put so much weight and emphasis in her bond with Tifa, but not just the bond element. Aerith has been more transparent with Tifa than anyone else in the story. All those little, and we're about to see it, all these little conversations that they were having, they're talking about memories, what's being taken, what's going on with Cloud, does he remember Zack? Like, I think what was Cloud and Aerith's relationship, a little bit romancy, but primarily guru and pupil, for Aerith to help Cloud move to that enlightenment arc that he has to go through, to essentially embody and integrate and to be able to manage the tremendous power that he gets at the later part of the game. I think Aerith is now being pupil guru with Tifa, and I think Tifa's going to get some mad, bonkers, bananas. It's going to shock and surprise us, the kind of powers that Tifa's going to get in part 3. I think it's going to be top end, even more than she already has. Anyway, I came here for Aerith and Tifa Fields Pairs. Play the bloody video. All right, calm down. Be patient.
Excuse me.
Yes. This old
Guess
scene.
the travel or something really did a number on my back. Feels as stiff as a board.
Let me take a look.
There it is. There's the balls. Oh, I haven't seen these scenes in well over a year. Man, I've got to say that this, Aerith, it's on you. Why on earth would anyone allow someone who you have witnessed, you have seen, punch with your bare hands machinery, creatures, some of which probably weigh at least 50, 60 tons, sky high? Why, someone who can drop kick unconscious a 20, 30 ton dragon. Why would you let that person anywhere near your back or muscular or your skeletal system? I would not be letting this bitch anywhere near any of my parts with her hands. Although it is Tifa, so maybe I'd risk it. Yeah, I'd risk it. I'd definitely risk it. What am I saying? Shut up. So would you. Tell me I'm wrong.
Wow. You weren't kidding, were you? Let's get you back to the room.
Yeah, let's just call it a night. No amount of guesswork will get us any closer to the truth, so how about we give our heads a rest?
Look at these two. Look at them. Always with the little glance at each other. Always with the little smiles or the little smirks. You know what? Aerith and Tifa, it's beyond wholesome. I'm kind of falling in camp with the people who legitimately would want the end credits to be them at Cloud's grave, a flower, and a buster sword, a yellow flower, a buster sword. Some sort of afterlife you see with Cloud and Zack like pegging each other, and then it just cuts to Aerith and Tifa on a beach with the whole gang, both of them in beautiful flowing wedding dresses, about to announce their matrimony and their eternal bond. I agree. At this stage in life, even if it's the other gender, even if it's not the person you're necessarily most attracted to and have the hots for, have the most amazing clappies with, I'm at a stage in life, man, where I want to be with a person who, when I'm around that person day to day, I've got smile energy on. This kind of smile energy, right here. Someone that doesn't bring up trepidation, dread, existential crises, trauma roughed up to the surface, and who neither of these girls have that kind of relationship with. Cloud bloody strife. Like, it's just a good thing that Tifa doesn't have good and solid and healthy and this kind of aged like dating senses, because rule number 1, don't try to fix them. That whole I can fix him, I can fix her mentality, that is a one-way street to fucked sea.
Oh, no, you don't. That bed's mine.
Sweet dreams.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, get together, girls. Ditch Cloud off. Adopt me. I'd gladly
Hey,
be Denzel
Aerith?
in this scenario.
You awake?
Barely.
Ah, yes.
Why?
This was a great moment.
Was wondering, what's Cloud been doing these past 5 years? Where's he been?
And you're asking me this?
Hell to the yes,
Just
she
had a
asking
feeling
you
you'd
this.
know.
Probably
Feet!
did at
I'm
one
like,
point.
what?
All that stuff was taken from me, though. Or maybe erased?
By whispers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't tell you the relief that this scene, amongst, I think like 2 or 3 others, gave me. Because, I mean, for anyone who was there at the time, you'll know that coming out of part 1, I iterated again and again. My biggest trepidation with Remake Part 2 was that there was going to be an amnesia effect over the plot. A memory erasure. And I suppose, to a very strong degree, there is, like Aerith literally just said there. I might have known these things, but they've been gone. So there is memory erasure. But what I kind of meant was, so much happened in part 1 that if we came into part 2 and they didn't just sit down, have a cup of tea, a scone, a bed chat, like chin wag about what the fuck was going on, it would feel so disjointed and frustrating to me, because there would just be so many elephants, thousands of elephants in the room, and none of them being addressed would just frustrate me. And moments like this, candid conversations where even just them discussing the natures of their confusion, it was... These were the moments that really brought it home for me. And the other elephant in the room, let's just talk about it. Like, Aerith is there, nice and cozy in her nightie. That's proper sleepwear. We all give that a seal of approval. Tifa, you stinky mare. Why are you wearing your day clothes, your traveling clothes? Like, you just at least take the suspenders off. Just flip the suspenders off. Let your shoulders breathe. The strap marks this girl must have. And I mean, come on, like, that thing is very... it's compressing. The sports bra, that's the word I'm looking at. That, we've seen from the purple dress that this is a very compressing, very tight sports bra. Just like, let them out. Let them breathe. Let them breathe a little bit. I am uncomfortable looking at you. I'm uncomfortable for you. Come on. What are you doing?
Maybe that's why.
Why what?
This is gonna sound crazy, but as far as I know, Cloud was never in Nibelheim 5 years ago.
And this game is even better looking than I even remember. Blows my mind. Pigment, follicle detail. Feet! I gotta stop. All of us Final Fantasy fans have got to stop. I'm not the only one. Because yeah, it's very hard when these girls are on screen not to be quagmired in squidginess and squidgy superficial oogly oglies, ooey wooies. Because what's going on in these scenes is very profound, very poignant, very feet. Right here, the fact that they cut away from this at this point as they set up. This is what's amazing about this game. Is not only do we have so much narration beyond just the words being spoken, the voice acting, the actual dialogue lines, there is a whole other universe of dialogue going on, facial expressions, micro expressions, flickers of eyes, nose, ears, eyebrows, and you see it so much between these two. But then there's the extra layer that we have here, and Remake has been doing this pretty consistent throughout is it leads and it hints towards conversations and happenings off screen, in the downtime, all the things that we don't see and we don't necessarily have to be seen. And it invites us in to fill in those moments. Like, we're going to cut away here, right? Yeah. As they sit up, as they start talking about Cloud not being in Nibelheim. And what we know later in Gongaga is, the conversation comes back up again in terms of how much Cloud knows Zack, and Aerith and Tifa, they're chatting and Cloud sees it. And basically, we know from these moments just how much is being shared between these two. And that is also what really links into my belief that Aerith is teeing Tifa up more than anyone else right now to be in the most prime position for what's to come. Very key. And it's just amazing that so much of that is done behind the curtains, off the screen. And it's actually just really fantastic storytelling. Oh, we're over here. Yeah.
I think Midgar's
Yeah,
this way.
This scene really surprised me, because this is where it felt like Aerith gave up on the love triangle, and kind of helped Tifa out. When she could have cucked Tifa.
It is far away.
Aerith pushing them together, Cloud and Tifa.
So, did something happen between you and Tifa? Don't look so shocked. We're roommates, you know.
And the rest.
Did she say something?
And the rest.
Not about you two, no. Still, I can tell. I would have given anything to have a friend when I was growing up. Don't take her for granted.
I got that completely wrong. I think there is another scene that does this. The kind of is Aerith. Yeah, there is. Where is it? Was it Costa del Sol somewhere else? Where, Aerith is like pushing Tifa towards Cloud, and I thought this was one of those scenes. At least when I first watched it and I first saw it, that was the main impression. I was like, oh my, what? Aerith advocating on behalf of their relationship. Because in OG, at this point, Aerith and Tifa, they're kind of, they're warring over Cloudy Boy. Like, just prior to this, where they were locked in the cells, they kind of have a bit of a tense moment, especially at least from Tifa's end. She gets real stroppy. She literally has to strop. Aerith and Cloud are kind of hitting it off. But, looking at that again, what did Aerith just say? Sneaky, cheeky little vixen. Where is it?
I would have given anything to have a friend when I was growing up.
Friend. Friend. Oh, friend, Cloud. Oh, don't take Tifa for granted. She's a great friend. A friend. 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 Aerith is planting the seed. And Cloud's a friend. Literally friend zoning him. You sly little devil, Aerith. I got your number.
Don't take her for granted.
FYI, before anyone gets all shirty McBurty in the chat, I am being very facetious and sarcastic and tongue-in-cheek in most of the things I'm saying right now, because I'm feeling a bit of a silly boy today. I just feel like I need to caveat that, because I'm going to be getting spammed walls of text by over serious love triangle fans, and honestly there's millions of you out there. Like, there's so many of you. You came away from Rebirth and Remake, and not a single one of the really deep, detailed, amazing takes that you could have had, and I've covered in theories and other people, and Square Enix is serving up to us. All of that was straight over your head. All you did when you came out of Rebirth is you spent the next 6 months arguing about love triangle stuff. Everything from Aerith is a manipulator, to Tifa is a hussy, to essentially Tifa non-consensually forced Cloud into that kiss, to Cloud loves Aerith, but kissed Tifa out of pity, and this went on and on and on and on, and I... Stop it. Silly. That's such a superficial element. I mean, whatever, you're allowed to...
Glide across swamps with ease.
There you go. What's this?
Aw, isn't he just the cutest?
Ooh, stanky music. Oh, I think my earlobe keeps hitting my AirPod and pausing the video. Well, I guess we're going to get some sort of like chocobo joke. Yeah. That's my guess. I can't fully remember.
They are kind of similar,
Yeah,
totally.
That's getting real gritty.
Oh, we're coming with. I'm so
Oh, soldier dress up
This
time
way?
in June.
Yeah.
This was a good time. Man, at this part, my
Now
mind
we're
blow and
talking.
adoration for this game had
They're actually kind of cool.
hit critical mass.
Ready to suit up? Yep.
Oh yeah, now I tried to peek over the locker.
Whoa there.
Aerith
3
stops
steps
us.
back, if you please.
God damn it, Aerith. Feet! So goddamn cute and wholesome. Oh man, what's going on with these headphones? Yeah, man. Man, the world design on this game. Yes.
Freeze.
Yeah.
Hands up.
Look at him. Look at him. Oh, God. So iconic. So awesome.
Hands up.
They're so cute.
Well?
They
You
should
got
have
me.
made us pick at this point. Did they make us pick?
Ever see that Faz guy again?
No, but there are times when I think I do, and I freeze up till I realize it's someone else.
We really loved that they included this. So Faz was a story that I'd literally just learned about, I think like 2 weeks before the game dropped. Faz was this scientist and the predominant one that helped her break out when Aerith was a wee little girl. So yeah, Faz got an infatuation for Fauna from afar, the same as young Sid Highwind we just learned in the game, and he never forgot her or got over it. So Faz helped her break out, and then Fauna was supposed to ride the train all the way to a specific sector, but because she knew that Faz was a little bit sketchy and sketchy motives for breaking her out, she got off the train sooner, and then that's where Elmira found her, and obviously found her died at the station. And then Faz, more or less when Aerith is like 17, I think, stumbles across Aerith by chance and kind of knows it's Aerith grown up, but he's still so madly incensed with Elmira that he basically convinces himself that Aerith is Elmira and stalks the living shit out of her. Stalks her, hunts her down to the church, basically corners her, and then when Aerith obviously freaks out and tells him to bugger off, he tries to force himself upon her, to which Elmira shows up. Elmira was quite literally a gangster. The Gainsboroughs were literally a gangster family that rivaled Don Corneo in the property business. She shows up and I think she smacks him out with a frying pan like Yang's wife. But then he gets up after being knocked out for a bit, gets up, tries to lunge at them again, and Elmira's just like, okay, well, the frying pan ain't going to work, maybe this will. And just pulls out a goddamn gun on his ass, points it at him. She's like, I ain't going to take no shit. And as she's pointing it, a bullet goes through Faz's head. And it kind of shocks Aerith because for a second she thinks that her mum just literally shot someone down cold, but it was actually a sniper on like a building across. That Song, obviously because Song's keeping tabs on Aerith. Yeah, basically sniped Faz. So that's what they're talking about here. I freeze up. Yeah, here. Ever see that Faz guy? So this is like one of a really traumatizing story for Aerith. So the fact that Tifa's talking about this, the levels and the degrees that these girls are sharing about their life and their hopes and their dreams and their traumas, like in such a short amount of time. Like in OG, Aerith and Tifa were nowhere close to being this founded.
I'm here if you want to talk.
Look at him.
Well, actually, I was kind of hoping we could talk business.
What kind
Having
of
a little
business?
share circle.
You know, business.
Business? What business?
Boys.
Boy.
Oh, that kind.
Yeah, let's talk business. Let's talk about dogs. Monster dog. God damn it. Is that Barrett? I want to talk about boys.
Meeting adjourned.
Honestly, this
for
game
now.
makes me such a cringe human being. I'm a 33-year-old man.
So how's it looking up top?
Getting this giddy over
All the robes are in
virtual
second class.
characters.
Haven't seen any sign of Shinra, though. We can ditch the uniforms.
Aww. Well, it's been an honor, Captain.
Captain?
Hey, about this deal Rufus wanted to make with you. I know it's off, thanks to little Miss Ninja's stunt, but personally, I think she did us a favor. Nothing good ever came from making deals with the devil. Shinra can't be trusted, no matter who's in charge.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking.
Hi, Bo.
Good evening, and welcome aboard the Shinra 8. We're sailing smoothly towards Costa del Sol and expect to arrive right on schedule. Though your time with us may be brief, we wish you all a pleasant voyage. As for this evening's onboard entertainment,
This is the greatest game
we will
ever
be
made,
holding
Bo.
a Queen's Blood tournament
Yes,
in the
it is.
lounge. Any and all
Yes,
interested
sure,
guests
Lee.
are welcome to join
It's so
regardless of
good.
experience.
It's
See
so
the lounge
good.
staff for details.
Are you cute? No, don't hit my laptop.
You
That's
heard
a
the man.
finger.
To the lounge.
Come on.
I'm not going to make it through all 51 minutes of this video, am I? This video's already probably mad long. I'm going to have to do a part 2. But adored this boat crossing. A lot of people hated the Queen's Blood element. It forced me to do mini games. It forced me. I loved it. Oh, God, bad.
And not just with your hair, with the help of Zero accounting software.
Why have I been paid at one quest? I've been triple added sleeping. It's broken the audio! What? Alright,
Right.
we're back. Let's go.
So a little sightseeing couldn't hurt, could it? I mean, come on. We're in Costa del Sol, people.
Oh God, I'm 10 minutes into the
Costa
video.
del Sol.
Yeah!
Perhaps we could
Damn,
find some
Tifa's
shade
abs are
first.
mad.
I'm about to melt.
Could shave you.
Still disappointed Heidegger didn't throw someone in the river.
Greetings and welcome to Costa del Sol. I'm Capono, the mayor.
Costa del Sol
here.
was such a
Go on.
saucy section of the game. Hey,
Here you are.
saucy.
A gift to get you in the mood.
Welcome. Thanks.
After all, there's nothing like a good
Welcome.
play to kickstart your getaway.
One for you. You see that?
Yeah, but let's find a hotel and shower first. Then we can go.
is
better
where Barrett
not be
gets all
suggesting
grumpy.
we all hit the beach. Hey, I saw that. Don't go thinking I didn't. You two said it with your eyes.
Besides, I gotta run. The mayor requires my assistance at this time.
The humor in this game is
Make
good.
yourselves at home.
It's good.
Not like there's anyone else here anyway. Oh, you guys better not head to the beach looking like that. And don't even think of bringing those weapons with you. Oh, fate is so cruel, depriving me of Tifa and beachwear.
Time for that shower? Yeah, I'd say so. See you guys soon.
How soon is soon?
Soon enough. No need to stick to a schedule here. Right?
Right.
You win. Think I'll go take a walk. Though, I should maybe get changed first.
And then Barrett just comes back with a sailor suit, just owning it.
Still looking good. Well, back in a bit.
And there we go, more with Barrett. Character development arc. He was so insecure in OG about that sailor suit. Mans is leaning into it. Oh, this was very poignant.
Thanks for keeping watch. I'll only be a sec.
Wholly been
your
empty.
time.
This isn't really a Tifa and Aerith moment though.
Well, the water won't turn off.
Oh yeah, this. Like, Red is just waving his sparking, flaming tail with little embers wafting off of it, right in front of a fan, inside of a straw hut. A hot, probably very dry straw hut. How is that place not going up ablaze? Oh, curses and kersplats. I just realised as I was editing my video that my phone died and I'm having to come back the next day. I spent another like 40 minutes rambling at a dead camera. So we're going to pick it up from here. I've got a lot of feelings about this next scene, but let's watch it all the way through. First and
Reminds me
foremost.
of home.
Are you almost done?
Crikey, look at that line scale detail. Oh, Red's beastie senses.
Are you all right?
The voice switch. And Red's voice. Hopping back and forth.
Tell me, what color would you say this is?
None.
Blank.
Thing is, it used to be white. At least, it was back in Midgar.
The rabbit hole this detail has sent me on.
Materia is formed from the life stream itself. Orbs infused with knowledge, memories.
Memories.
The whispers. They took all that from mine?
These
not
memories
just-
were precious.
Not just any whispers at this point.
Yes. Extremely.
Weren't you headed to the beach? Some time with Tifa might...
Actually, I'm going to go back. Wait, let me just quickly inspect. And I was going to start overthinking about the pattern design on Aerith's nightie here. What is even that telling us? Oh, the curse of an overthinker. But I will say, I did it with Bugenhagen's cloak, and it reflected perfectly, with mad levels of symmetry. What was it? How was it? It was the Kabbalah world configuration. Basically, yeah, the pattern on Bugenhagen's cloak is what the Kabbalists, which is a Jewish mysticism, but there's also a lot of mathematics to it, and they actually created a design that is symmetrically identical to Bugenhagen's, that reflects basically what they say is the immaculate cosmic order and the configuration of world soul. Soul it's not just something that permeates in some other dimension. It's not even one that permeates this dimension. It permeates multiple layers, and these multiple layers are basically called the aggregates, and there's 5 aggregates. I won't go too deep into this, some of you may have already seen this, but more or less when you look at that and you also look at how the Buddhists configure the concept of soul and cosmology, it all comes back to the same 2, 5 and 8. 2, 5 and 8, which are also, you can also throw in 3 if you want to get really complex, and then you start getting the Fibonacci sequence, you start getting string theory. Basically, in science and in various religions, they share this remarkable parallel to one another of how they see the world of soul configured. And I'm just going to quickly follow this scene through. Are we done with it?
Weren't you headed to the beach? Some time with Tifa might lift your spirits.
Even Red ships them. Not go spend some time with Cloud or Barrett. Even Red's like, yeah, you need to be with Tifa. Smile energy. Healthy dating mechanic. Right, yeah. That's the scene. Oh, yeah, so very deep. Yeah, let's pause it there. And I will end the video here because I know after this we're going to start getting into beachy swimwear, and I've already been a thirsty, cringy enough boy already. But you know, the emptiness of the white materia is something that can send you down infinite looping rabbit holes. Because what we know is that the Whispers, right, in part 1 of the game, they weren't under Sephiroth or Genova's control. They were under the planet's control. And the planet, what was it trying to do? It was trying to keep things on track. That's why it was interfering and intervening with anything that was diverging. Because at least with OG's timeline, the planet knew it would survive. It wouldn't necessarily completely get rid of Genova and Sephiroth, but at least it would hang on in there. And it wanted to hold that course and that track. But we got the planet in OG. What we need to even consider even deeper is Omni Aerith, Goddess Aerith. The Aerith that permeates on a soul level even higher than all of that. So how much was Omni Aerith playing a role? Not just corporeal, relative Aerith, absolute Aerith and relative Aerith. And what you can kind of sense is that the Whispers that were taking the memories from her, even in part 1, what were they doing with them? Now what we know is that of course Sephiroth then took over, hijacked the Whispers, the black ones at least. So now when they're sweeping and taking memories from Aerith, essentially what is within the white materia, memories and knowledge, Omni Aeriths, not just relative Aeriths, Omni Aeriths you could argue is also in the white materia. And now we're talking about a much higher level of control over the life stream. And this is so powerful because we also need to recognize that what Aerith's memories can do is significant. Significante. Because we've seen in Maiden Who Travels the Planet that basically Aerith's memories, when come in contact with a soul that has lost its identity and its form, when it's formless and suffering, like a black whisper, Aerith can give her memory to that incorporeal suffering being, and it can then materialize its original identity. That's pretty goddamn wild. We see that she does it for Jesse, Biggs, Dean, Wedge, in the live stream. She even has an interaction with Hojo, with President Shinra. So basically a soul can use Aerith's memories and regain itself. And we even saw this in the train graveyard, right? You had the baggy ghosts with the tears, and they would float around Aerith, and then what happened? It would switch to a memory of Aerith's. At the train graveyard, it was when she was playing hide and seek. You know, she's a little girl and she's wanting someone to come and find her. And as that memory's playing out, we then see the form of the kids, ghost kids, like more materialized, running past, visually showing us that that maiden who travels the planet and Livestream Chapter White, those Ultimania details are being infused into this. So now if we look at potentially what Sephiroth and Jenova could do with this power. They could give corporeal form. Agents, dark allies, beings could be remanifested were they to get a hold of this power. And we've kind of seen they've got a hold, because the white material is now empty. And when we fought Jenova in Rebirth, we saw a big white orb in the center of Genova's chest. She's acquiring that power. And what white materia can also do, not just materialize souls, is essentially has the power to do anything it wants, can just rewrite the script of the planet in any which desirable direction it wants. In OG it said white materia can essentially reset the planet, and Buchenhagen said, will it keep humans around? Like, it could just choose not to have humans around anymore. And Buchenhagen didn't know what the planet would pick, whether or not we're a parasite that the planet is better off without. And that was the cliffhanger, right? Flash of Holy at the end, see all of our characters' faces, and then end credits. Nanaki over a vacant world. And yeah, I know Advent Children then retconned that detail, but point being, obviously Cloud now has the white materia, the empty one. And we've all postulated that Cloud could essentially fill his memories, his knowledge in this empty white materia. And what would Cloud do if he had the power to choose any outcome, to have that narrative reset? What would Cloud pick? Now, at the state he's in now, we could very well see him picking an option where the people he's lost, his loved ones, his mother, Aerith, Zack, if Sephiroth were to make him believe that Tifa and Barrett have also been killed, that he showed in the VR, planting that seed of their death. Cloud's the kind of person if he doesn't learn, he doesn't grow. He could make the mistake of choosing to violate the natural order to bring back the people he loves. And the fact he's also then got the black materia in his control as well. This is where my God mode Cloud theory, like essentially Cloud could have the powers of God, like Shinji in Evangelion. I suppose even a little bit. Was that the Full Metal Alchemist ending as well? Brotherhood. The Full Metal Alchemist ending was very, very similar to, in terms of how dramatic and wild it got, as Evangelion. These are animes if you don't know. I could see something like that happening here. But all of this is what the significance of this white materia being empty points to. The other really big significance, oh God, I'm wilding out. I've looked forward and I've been excited to do this. So you're going to have to forgive me, I'm kind of wilding out a little bit. I need to compose. I said I was going to bring presence and stillness and a more measured, calmer version of myself. It's so hard though. This shit gets me so excited. The other possibility is, if my theory that Aerith has indeed created remnants, Aerith has created remnants. I think there is compelling evidence that she has. It says in the Ultimania, which again I've just shown you, categorical evidence that in this trilogy they are honouring parts of what was written in the Ultimania. Well, one of those parts in the Ultimania was Aerith seeing Sephiroth create Kadaj Lozanizu, remnants of himself, going, oh, I think I could do the same, and morally questioning whether or not she could, or she should I say. I think she's done it. I think that the circumstances and the situation, the 5D chess that is going on, because all of this like knowledge and this memory, this is what is being fought and warred over under the surface. You know, Tifa saw the white and the black whispers and the planet and Sephiroth fighting in the live stream, like showing us that there's this hidden battle going on. Behind all of this, again, what's just so phenomenal about the narrative and the writing behind this game, so there's a whole other world of battle. And then of course we've got Zack on that level fighting in that battle in some way. But even then below that, there's even deeper substratas of knowledge and wisdom, memory being fought over. And to win that battle, I believe Aerith has created remnants of herself. That's why Aerith from Remake and Rebirth have distinctly different personalities. This Aerith is more prone to upset, anger. We see numerous times her feeling the weight of loss and grief. The number of times that she's had to tell the teammates to leave her alone. She wants to be by herself. Even Aerith is like shocked by herself at times, like how she behaved around Zack's parents. She was like, that was kind of cruel of me, or whatever she said. It wasn't very nice of her. So even Aerith is feeling this like element of herself. So that means the rebirth of Aerith, you could essentially say, is like the Loz. You know, Loz was the crybaby version of Sephiroth. I called that Loss Aerith or Grief Aerith. Remake, first game Aerith was Flower Aerith. Intuitive, that high fantasy shaman element of her. The flowers, the lessons to teach. Very mystical and intuitive. And then I believe we've already seen the third version, which is Lover Aerith. The side of her that wants to love and be loved, and that we just got our first glimpse. And that could be the Aerith that shows up in part 3 more. That was the one that Cloud went in the dream date with. You know, she shows up and she's all giddy and she's like, let's go over here, let's go here, let's buy these sweets, let's buy this, go to this stall. And she's dragging Cloud around. And what did Cloud say? He said it twice. They emphasized it twice at us. First of all, he asked why she was like being like this. And Aerith kind of brushed it off, that version. And then he says it again. He kind of pulls away and he says, this isn't you. Cloud says, this isn't you. He is telling us that what the Aerith he's experienced is fundamentally different. So what that means is that Aerith could be playing a 5D chess where the Sephiroth, the Aerith that Sephiroth killed was just one of her remnants. The one that is now going off into the temple and waiting for the crew could be a completely different one. And then on top of all of these 3 Aeriths, you've got Omni Aerith seated at the top. And when I really dove deep into that, I thought, well, how is it that these remnants could keep continuity between them? Because what we see is that Aerith, she's losing memories of things that happened previously. Her memories are being altered and changed. We know Sephiroth and Genova, now if they have white materia power and have slurp-a-derp-derped it, they're interfering with that. So what did we see? What did we see, my dudes? We saw Aerith give Cloud the white materia, shove him as Sephiroth hunted her in the church, right? So that he could get away with the white materia. Then Cloud, in a hallucinated, I guess, dream state or another dimensionality, another one of the 5 stamp timelines. 5, which I perfectly predicted because I looked at 2, 5, and 8. 2 worlds, 2 polarized worlds. This is the Kabbalah and Buddhist law. And Square Enix said to us, there's world of live stream and there's world of chaos. So polarity worlds, yin yang essentially. 2 embedded within 5. The 5 aggregates. I'm wilding out too hard here. The aggregates are essentially based on different levels of spiritual dimensionality, and with that comes different levels of awareness, and each one of these aggregates serves a purpose in terms of the veil of illusion that it puts you under. And within these aggregates, you have a battle of, I think it was called Prana Paramita and Sunyata, which are basically combinations of hollowness. Hollow, the theme song Hollow. It's also a battle between purity and impurity. And it gives extension to the 8 forms of consciousness, which the highest one of those consciousness is called Alaya Vijnana. Now, if someone attains Alaya Vijnana, they've essentially transcended purity and corruption, the internal battle between the two. They've harmoniously merged the two, and they essentially have more or less like keys to the universe. And so I did a whole theory that Sephiroth is essentially after Alaya Vijnana, the highest form of consciousness, the 8th one. The 7th one is like a high transcendental, like enlightened knowledge, or the step before, which Aerith has. 6 is when you're starting to transcend out of hollowness starting to acquire keener and sharper senses. And then 5 and below, just like, you know, the 5 senses, they're based on ear, eye consciousness, mouth consciousness, hearing consciousness that we literally see Barrett developing in. He's developing, I think hearing was the second form of consciousness. You know, Barrett's always been going, do you hear the planet crying? Don't you hear her? Are you telling me you don't hear her? He said that multiple times, and we thought he was being metaphorical, right? Okay, but then we go to Cosmo Canyon, and Wedge's ghost literally speaks on the wind, and only Barrett hears it. He said, I just heard Wedge. The rest of the crew go, nah, you couldn't have. You couldn't have. Literally showing us Barrett's metaphysical upgrade in that form of consciousness. Of course, Red is the nose consciousness. We see him start smelling things even preemptively in the clones. He starts smelling essentially things on even a spiritual, metaphysical level. That's developing. And yeah, all of that is to say that I also think Tifa is moving from that 5th stage of consciousness up into 6th. She's basically all moving through these 8 forms of consciousness, 2, 5, and 8. And that's why I said, definitively, guys, there's 5 worlds. And I had nothing but all of this roadmap to substantiate. I said there will be 5 spiritual worlds in this game. And then Square Enix stood on stage and somebody asked, how many stamped timelines are there? And they said, 5! 5. Wow. Woof woof. God, I know that's such a brain dump, and some of you just probably came for some wholesomeness. But the final part to that is, yeah, you know when Aerith then says to Cloud in the forest, good to see you again. It's nice to see you again. What a strange way to greet Cloud, considering he had literally just been with Aerith moments ago. Then this other Aerith shows up and says, oh, it's good to see you again. I believe that was Flower Aerith, Remake Aerith, coming back and seeing him again. I then think that the Aerith that came through the portal and helped Cloud fight Sephiroth was another. It could have been Aerith Remnant, it could have been Omni, the goddess Aerith. But what did that forest Aerith then do? She took the materia that she just smuggled Cloud away with. She took it, she put it in her bow, flashy, flashy light, and what did we see? We saw Aerith's eyes open and her pupils dilate, visually showing us this infusion of memory coming back. Meaning that Omni Aerith with her remnants, by this theory's logic, is playing a 5D chess where she's using the materia and the knowledge to essentially hide some of the continuity of what her different remnants are experiencing and learning and witnessing, and then passing it down to each of them in order to circumvent and circumnavigate over in Sephiroth. And that, it blows my mind just how incredibly tactical and insanely clever, witty, sneaky all of that is. Oh my guys, I can't articulate just how hard this is going. To have all of this and to have immaculate soul cosmology reflected through multiple religions showing up in this. And that's why it's just been the biggest frustration that people have just been calling these timelines, time travel, sci-fi bullshit. It is anything but. It is layers of cognitive, conscious, soul gradient juiciness being compounded into this story. And when you go into each of the purpose and the intention of why souls go through these different levels, these different dimensionalities, they all relate so distinctly to interpersonal qualities and lessons and learnings that we all have to go through. And just when I looked through what each of those 5 aggregates and 5 stamp timelines, they marry up with what's happening in the game. Like almost completely succinctly. You know, the 3rd aggregate, for example, is called the creation aggregate, where all of creation is thrown into basically a new direction and question, a new formation. What did we see? The third aggregate in this game was we went to the edge of creation. The fourth is a keener awareness, not fully. This is the fourth. Final Fantasy Rebirth is the fourth. What do we see with the characters? They're slightly more aware, but they're not fully aware. They're certainly more aware than they were in Remake. And with each of that varying degree of awareness comes different trials, tribulations, and things that need to be overcome. The fifth dimension, that essentially could be part 3. What does the Kabbalistic law tell us? Oh yeah, this is a world run by, what was it, malicious and basically nasty, horrible angels of death and destruction. The fifth one essentially ends up being one of the hardest and most sinister dimensionalities, where basically souls would be put through the final and the most significant and profound test of deception and illusion. And I don't know if you guys can see this, because I had to remind myself of all of these themes, and I found the notes for them. I thought they disappeared. Sunyata means hollowness. Sunya, empty, void, zero, nothing, hollow. The prana parameter sunyatas uses various metaphors to explain the nature of things as emptiness, stating that things are like illusions and dreams. Would you not say we've had the theme of illusion and dreams pretty substantially in this game? Even Divine itself is to be like a dream or magical illusion. How many times Cloud has gone into different spaces and said, is this a dream? Hollow Cloud going to spaces with Aerith and asking, is it a dream? And yeah, this whole part here is like a spiritual revolution on a galactic scale. Oh yes, and this, the scene where Sephiroth and Cloud, Sephiroth's taking him through the universe, and all Cloud can hear is screaming. Sephiroth says, listen, can you hear it? And all Cloud hears is screaming, whereas Sephiroth hears rapture. That was a moment of Sephiroth testing just one of Cloud's 8 forms of consciousness, because they're not separate, they're all interlinked. And by Sephiroth's observation, if Cloud still hears screaming, then he isn't attaining that 7th stage, which is Alaya. Alaya leads to Alaya Vijnana. Alaya is where self-awareness and emptiness meets, meaning your identity and hollowness clash, come together, and you have an emergence through it, which is ultimately Cloud's journey. And Sephiroth was disappointed. What did he say? Oh, Cloud, you shithead, you bird brain, chocobo, butthead, fuckface. I thought you was there, but you're not ready yet. But you will be soon, because Sephiroth is grooming Cloud to essentially move up to Alaya Vijnana, transcend the 2, 5, and 8, manifest as a vessel for the storehouse consciousness. Like it says here, Alaya Vijnana is the storehouse consciousness that receives impressions from all other consciousness and retains it as potential energy. So basically, consciousness and energy, this is what FF7, Rebirth, Remake, all of it is built upon. That's what Sephiroth wanted. He wanted the energy of soul and memory, the consciousness of the entire planet. Like it says here, they're stored as bija, or seeds, for further manifestations and activities. Essentially, the container consciousness or seed consciousness, when mastered, it can bring about new outcomes, new futures, new potentialities. And Sephiroth is here trying to subvert his future, or subvert his fate by changing the future. Alright, I've wilded out hard enough. Even my brain's fucking melting, and I know this stuff.
Yeah.
You guys must just be... So I brain dumped on you. How inconsiderate. I should have done a warning.
Wandering around alone would be ill-advised. I insist you take Tifa.
I insist you take Tifa. Yeah, I'm sorry. I unsolicitedly brain dumped on you. Read there again. So go see Tifa. I insist you take Tifa. Yeah, I'm going to leave that there because that's more than enough for one video. Love it. I hope that gives you guys like a little taste and a little flavour of, you know, certainly at least how I see this story and what could potentially be coming in part 3. You know, I really want to make a far more succinct video, sort of, rather than exploring all of these themes, really wrapping in a more sort of dissected way. It can seem like, you know, when I say these things, it's like it's just concept stuffing and concept cramming. You know, when I say it in a vacuum, it just feels like, okay, so you're flooding this game with all of this extra peripheral stuff. But how does that really translate into the value of what we're going to get as an audience? What is our experience going to be? And that's really what I want to emphasize, is that all of this is so wonderfully crafted in such subtle layers and indirect, you know, non-distinct ways, that ultimately what these 2, 5 and 8, what the exploration of the Kabbalah or Buddhism, you know, which can throw these concepts at you, you don't need to receive these concepts, you don't even need to understand them, but what it does for the individuals who read these materials, as I think we will witness, you know, essentially the Kabbalah and Buddhist, or certainly Yogacara of the 13 schools, manifest in front of us, is that it will leave imprints, it will leave impressions, and within that impression will come very naturally and organically, like a turning of within, seeing and witnessing somebody, anybody, going through their own spiritual journey and evolution, you know, can be a mirror to ourselves in which we can see and reflect. And yeah, I just think it will have a very sincere yet profound and meaningful kind of effect on people. And yeah, I think that the presentation of this game is doing that fantastically. But yeah, anyway, I made it 15 minutes through 51 minutes. I'm terrible. But I had fun, and I hope you guys did too. I'll pick this up another time. Tomorrow I actually want to cover Final Fantasy VIII and the destruction of the world. I'm going to get real doomsdayer, doom-mongery. I'm going to put the fear of God into you, that the world is on the brink of collapse tomorrow. So yeah, tune in for that, for your daily dose of existential fear. I'm scared, man. I'm scared. I learned something, and yeah, in some very loose way, I'm tying it to Final Fantasy VIII, but we'll see what I'm talking about if you're signing tomorrow. Bye, guys.